Usually when we talk about diagnosing a complex system, like a malfunctioning engine or even, say, a fractured bone, we expect a certain level of cold mechanical precision.
Right, yeah, like an X-ray.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You throw the arm under an X-ray machine, you spot the jagged white line on the film, and you know exactly what is wrong. It's binary, it's broken, or it's whole.
We really crave that kind of categorization. Having a visible, undeniable metric is comforting because it gives us this illusion of total control over our environment.
But then you step into the world of ancient Eastern cosmology, and that X-ray machine basically shatters into a million pieces. The whole landscape becomes entirely metaphysical.
Oh, totally. It shifts from the physical to the spiritual instantly.
Yeah, and today we are looking at a fascinating set of transcripts and diagrams from a philosophical lecture rooted in Daisen Jinrihyo thought.
Right.
And on the surface, I mean, this material looks incredibly esoteric. It dives deep into cosmogenesis, the creation of the universe, in these ancient trigrams.
Wading into these concepts can initially feel like diving into very deep, very old waters. I mean, it deals with frameworks that predate modern science by millennia.
Yeah, thousands of years.
Right. And it's attempting to map out not just matter, but the underlying spiritual and moral physics of reality itself.
Which is exactly our mission today. We're going to take this seemingly ancient, dense framework and extract the highly practical aha insights hiding inside it.
Because there really are quite a few of them once you dig in.
Exactly. Because buried beneath all the mystical terminology is a surprisingly radical perspective on human potential. So, okay, let's unpack this. By the time we finish this deep dive, you're going to understand why a tiny semiconductor chip and the messy, annoying friction of married couple arguing are actually the ultimate keys to unlocking the mechanics of the universe.
What's fascinating here is that this philosophy refuses to remain abstract. Like, it isn't a theoretical exercise designed to be debated in a quiet monastery somewhere.
Right. It's highly practical.
It really is. It operates as a literal functioning blueprint for how human beings give the vast empty universe its actual meaning. But to grasp that, we really have to look at the stage we are standing on first.
We have to build the universe first.
Exactly. We need to understand the cosmic progression outlined in the source material.
So let's trace that progression. The framework establishes this massive cascade of creation, and it starts with Taeguk, which translates to the supreme ultimate.
Right, the singular origin point.
Yeah, and that singular origin point then splits into Yum-yang, or yin and yang.
Right.
And then from yin and yang, we get sasong, which is the four symbols. And finally, those four symbols produce pogoi, the 8 trigrams.
And rather than just leaving those as mystical buzzwords, which, is easy to do, the philosophy maps them directly to the physical parameters of existence.
Like actual time and space.
Yes. So when this supreme ultimate fractures into yin and yang, that split actually creates space. Specifically, it establishes heaven and earth, which is the ultimate container for reality.
But a container is just static, right? Like nothing is happening.
Spot on. To have a functioning universe, you need motion. And that is where the 4 symbols come in. The framework explicitly identifies the 4 symbols as time.
And it grounds the concept of time in the physical interplay of the sun and the moon.
The mechanics of it are beautiful, honestly. Why do the 4 symbols represent time? Well, because time in this framework isn't just a straight line.
It's not a timeline like we think of it today.
No, it's a cyclical engine. So the interaction of the sun and moon generates the 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and on a micro level, it generates the 4 phases of a day. So you have morning, noon, evening, and night. So yin and yang give us the static grid of space, and the 4 symbols give us the cyclical motion of time.
Okay, so I am totally with you on space and time. That makes sense. It's a logical progression. But here is where the framework takes a massive leap that really threw me off initially.
Oh, the trigrams.
Yes. If yin and yang are the fabric of space, and the 4 symbols are the engine of time, how on earth do we arrive at the 8 trigrams?
It is a bit of a jump.
Because the philosophy claims the 8 trigrams represent humanity. And bridging the gap from the fundamental physics of reality to, well, us, it feels a bit arrogant, doesn't it?
It sounds incredibly human-centric, I'll give you that. But wait until you look at the underlying logic. The connection is made through a specific Korean concept called palbangmin.
Alabangman, okay.
Yeah, and the literal translation is an eight-direction beauty. But culturally, it refers to someone who is capable and aware in all directions, basically a true polymath or a jack of all trades.
Oh, interesting. So it's about multidirectional awareness.
Exactly. The argument being made is that among all the cosmic phenomena, only human beings possess the capacity to operate omnidirectionally. We don't just exist in space and time.
We witness it.
Yes, we witness it, we analyze it, and we manipulate it across physical, temporal, and even moral dimensions.
We are literally the only piece of the universe that can look at the whole board. There is a specific quote in the material that hammers this home, and I thought it was stunning.
The empty shell one.
Yes, it states, "Heaven and earth without the sun and moon are an empty shell. The sun and moon without humanity are an empty shadow."
Consider the visual weight of that statement for a second. The physical universe, like all the sprawling galaxies, the silent rocks, the endless void without the cyclical flow of time, is just a dead, frozen shell.
Nothing is happening.
Right. But even if you introduce time, even if the sun rises and sets for billions of years without a human consciousness to observe it, to attach meaning to it, and to act within it, well, it's just an empty shadow.
It's like playing out to a completely empty theater.
Exactly. Without human consciousness, the universe is functionally a meaningless void.
Which puts a staggering amount of pressure on us. I mean, we are the audience and the lead actors.
Mm-hmm.
But what really caught my attention is that this overarching cosmic formula, from the supreme ultimate down to human consciousness, it isn't just buried in some dusty ancient
Oh,
text.
it's everywhere.
It's hiding in plain sight today. This entire metaphysical progression is literally encoded into the tagugi, which is the national flag of South Korea.
Yeah, the diagrams provided in the source material draw a very direct line between this ancient cosmogenesis, which, by the way, originates with the I Ching, or Book of Changes, attributed to Fuxi, and the modern flag.
It's like a code.
It really serves as a visual compression algorithm for the entire universe.
Anyone familiar with the flag knows the layout, right?
Uh,
You have the interlocking red and blue circle in the center, and that's surrounded by the four distinct sets of black lines in the corners.
the trigrams.
Yeah. And the philosophy maps those corners directly to the opposing cosmic forces. So you have Jiangan, which represents the spatial extremes of heaven and earth. And then you have Gamri, which represents the temporal engines of water and fire, or the moon and the sun.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the material dives into the profound tension held within those symbols. Like water, which is aligned with the moon, is categorized as female energy.
Meaning introverted, right?
Yes, introverted, spiritual, and gathering inward. Whereas fire, which is aligned with the sun, is male energy, expansive, outward, and radiating.
So they're constantly pulling at each other.
Exactly. The slag is essentially a schematic showing all these massive opposing forces locked in a state of dynamic, vibrating tension around a single center point.
And that center point is where the biggest paradigm shift happens for me. The red and blue circle, the Taejuk, is generally understood by most people to just represent the balanced universe.
That's the common interpretation, yeah.
But the philosophy argues something much more radical. That center dot isn't just the universe. It represents a single human being.
It positions human consciousness as the literal fulcrum upon which all cosmic forces balance.
But, and here is my pushback, placing a single human at the center of the flag, at the center of reality, it creates an immediate paradox.
How so?
Well, how can something as small, fragile, and temporary as a human being be more important than the infinite vastness of the cosmos?
Oh, right, the scale issue.
Yeah. And the framework asks this directly. It asks which is greater, the macrocosm of the giant universe, or the microcosm of the human being. And it unflinchingly declares that the microcosm is greater.
To justify that claim, the material introduces a brilliant analogy that feels, frankly, incredibly modern. It compares the human being to a semiconductor chip.
I found this analogy to be the perfect bridge between the mysticism and logic. I mean, think about data storage. If you have a colossal building-sized warehouse, storing millions of files inside it is mathematically simple.
Because you just have infinite empty space.
Exactly, you just put boxes on shelves. But compressing that exact same volume of information onto a silicon microchip the size of your fingernail.
That requires an exponentially higher level of sophistication.
Exactly. A warehouse just holds things. A microchip processes them. The framework suggests that humans are the highly advanced microchips of reality. The entire complexity of the cosmos is compressed into our consciousness.
And because we possess that compressed cosmic code, we aren't allowed to just be passive observers.
We have a job to
A
do.
very big job. The material assigns us a highly specific operational role known as Jung, which translates to the center or the golden mean. We are the ultimate mediators of reality.
The meteor.
And the philosophy breaks this mediation down into three distinct mechanical balancing acts that only a human being can perform.
The first of those balancing acts is Zhenghua.
Right, and Zhenghua is the harmonization of space, specifically heaven and earth. So the human stands literally and metaphorically between the physical ground and the immaterial sky.
So what does that actually mean we do?
Our role is to take lofty, abstract ideals from the heavens and ground them into the messy, physical reality of Earth through our everyday actions.
Okay, that makes sense. The second balancing act is Zheng'o, which anchors time. And the framework maps this out geometrically, which I thought was super helpful.
Well, yeah, the wheel analogy.
Right. If the four symbols, the seasons, the phases of the day are points 1, 2, 3, and 4 on a spinning wheel, the human being must be point number 5.
We are the center axle.
Yes, if we aren't holding the center, the cyclical chaos of time simply spins out of control and degrades.
And then the third act, Zhengyang, is arguably the most difficult of the three. This is the mediation between the realm of gods and the realm of humans.
Which sounds intense.
It is. The material points out a fascinating dichotomy here. Divine spirits, or gods, inherently lean toward Ui, which represents absolute justice and righteousness.
Okay.
But humans, conversely, lean toward In, which is benevolence, compassion, and humanity.
That dichotomy is brilliant because both extremes are dangerous on their own. I
Mhm.
mean, pure, unadulterated divine justice is cold, absolute, and utterly merciless.
Right, there's no room for error.
But on the flip side, pure human benevolence, without any structure of justice, devolves into chaotic, enabling, and weakness.
Exactly. So the perfected human being, which is referred to in the text as the Dotong Gunja, is tasked with bearing the agonizing friction of merging those two extremes.
You have to balance them.
You have to apply cold justice with a warm heart.
And the philosophy makes it clear that we don't just have to perform these balancing acts for our own personal enlightenment. We have to do it because the universe itself is currently broken.
Yes, it is physically out of alignment.
The material drops this fascinating observation about universal friction. It points out that our solar year isn't a mathematically perfect 360 days, it's 365 days.
Right.
And the optimal human body temperature isn't a perfectly balanced 36 degrees, it's 36.5 degrees.
Those fractional deviations are vital to this whole theory. The material attributes that extra 0.5 degrees and those extra 5 days to an inherent excess of fire energy within the cosmic system.
So the system is running hot.
Exactly. Yin and yang are not currently in perfect sync. They are grinding against each other. And that excess heat, that friction, is the root cause of aging, decay, suffering, and conflict.
It completely reminds me of running a highly advanced software program on an overclocked computer processor. Like it runs, but it generates excess heat.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, and if you don't introduce a heat sink to absorb and dissipate that friction, the entire system eventually degrades and melts down. Humanity is meant to be the cosmic heat sink.
Wow.
The ultimate destiny of our species, once we achieve that perfected Dotong Gunja state, is to absorb that excess fire energy and mathematically realign the cosmos into a perfect balance.
Which brings us to the most crucial pivot in the entire framework. I mean, we have established this monumental metaphysical burden.
No pressure, right?
Right. We are the microchips of the universe, tasked with balancing space, time, justice, and compassion to literally fix the friction of reality. So the obvious question is, how on earth do we execute that?
This is where the lecture takes off its mystical robes and delivers incredibly blunt, street-level advice. It completely abandons the soaring cosmic grandeur.
This raises an important question for anyone studying philosophy, honestly. If you have the ultimate cosmic blueprint, what good is it if it remains trapped in your notebook?
Right.
The material addresses this by bringing in Confucius. The quote provided is Haki Supaji, which roughly translates to learn something and then practice it at the right time is a joy.
Meaning you actually have to do it.
Exactly. The underlying premise is that theoretical knowledge without physical execution is entirely dead.
And here's where it gets really interesting. To prove how utterly useless pure theory is, the philosophy uses the most grounded, hilarious analogy possible.
I love this part.
It points out that a reclusive monk or an isolated scholar can read 1,000 books on the delicate balance of yin and yang. They can memorize all the hexagrams and meditate on the concept of harmony,
Sure.
but they don't actually understand it. Who possesses a true mechanical understanding of yin and yang? A married couple.
Think about the depth of that analogy for a second. You cannot understand the dynamic tension of opposing cosmic forces in a vacuum. A married couple truly understands yin and yang because they have to navigate the daily grinding friction of another human being's ego, their habits, and their flaws.
Who leaves their socks on the floor? Who loads the dishwasher wrong?
Exactly. You only learn how to forge harmony by actively surviving the friction of conflict and reconciliation in real time.
You can't learn to sail a ship by sitting in a library reading a treatise on fluid dynamics and wind resistance.
Yeah.
You have to get on the water, face a storm, and actually feel the tension in the sails.
Right. The framework is issuing a severe warning against becoming what it calls a flat intellectual. It actively mocks the people who sit in the back of the lecture hall, drawing perfect diagrams of the 8 trigrams, but who retreat from the complexities of the real world.
There is even a specific physical monument mentioned in the text, the Cheongi Tap, or the Blue Chicken Tower.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to function as a physical reminder of the teachings. But the philosophy explicitly warns that standing around staring at a stone tower or fetishizing the symbols on a page is a spiritual dead end.
Staring at the blueprint doesn't build the house.
So what does building the house actually look like? The framework relies on the concept of podiok, which translates to virtuous action, specifically the act of saving, teaching, or helping others.
Helping others, right?
You cannot balance the universe while sitting in isolation. The material even draws a direct parallel to the Christian parable of the mustard seed.
The geometry of the mustard seed parable aligns perfectly with the microcosm concept we talked about earlier. The seed is incredibly tiny, almost invisible to the naked eye, just as the human being appears totally insignificant against the backdrop of the macrocosm. But when it is submerged in the soil, it expands into something massive and life-sustaining.
But the operational word in that parable is the soil.
Yes, the soil.
You have to take this tiny seed of cosmic truth, walk out of your perfectly quiet meditation retreat, and plunge your hands into the dirt of the real world. You have to interact with difficult people, you have to absorb their excess fire energy, and you actually have to help them.
It's messy.
Very messy. But the framework insists that this interpersonal action is the only mechanism by which the universe actually becomes yours. If you just sit in silence hoarding the knowledge, the material bluntly states, you'll just grow mold.
It is a remarkable synthesis of ideas. I mean, the highest, most untouchable metaphysical truths. The literal mechanics of heaven, earth, sun, and moon can only be activated and realized through the lowest, most grounded human interactions.
It's wild.
The macrocosm is only repaired when the microcosm gets its hands dirty.
The scope of this source material is truly a wild ride. Let's just trace the arc of what we have explored today. We started before the existence of time itself, watching the supreme ultimate fracture into space and time, cascading all the way down into the 8 trigrams of human consciousness.
Right.
And then we discovered that this exact mathematical equation for reality is currently flying on flagpoles as the South Korean flag.
And we examine the profound idea that human beings are the hyper-advanced semiconductor chips of the universe, holding literally all the data of the cosmos within our minds.
And ultimately, we learned that all of this immense cosmic potential isn't activated by thinking really hard in a quiet room. It is only activated by jumping headfirst into the chaotic friction of relationships, navigating the tension of opposing forces, and actively choosing to help the people around us.
The application of this framework for you listening right now is incredibly direct. You don't need to adopt a mystic lifestyle or become a scholar of ancient Eastern cosmology to utilize this.
No, not at all.
Whether you are walking into a highly contentious boardroom meeting, trying to navigate a complex romantic relationship, or simply trying to find your footing in a chaotic culture, you are the center point. You are the yum.
You are the heat sink.
Yes. You are the designated heat sink, designed to absorb and balance the opposing forces of logic and emotion, rigid justice, and messy compassion. But you can only master that balance by stepping into the friction.
Which brings us full circle to the broken X-ray machine we discussed at the very beginning. The universe is not a clean binary snapshot that you can diagnose from a safe distance. It is a messy, dynamic, perpetually flowing system of opposing energies.
Constantly moving.
Always. And if you are, as this philosophy so powerfully argues, the semiconductor chip of that universe, uniquely engineered to process and harmonize the vast energies of space and time, it leaves you with a deeply provocative question. What kind of code are you writing with your daily actions? Are you content to just sit in the library indefinitely reading the cosmic instruction manual, or are you finally ready to step out into the friction and run the program?